All right. So are you ready to dive deep today? Because we are tackling the longevity formula.
Ooh, I love that book.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And this whole concept of not just like adding years to your life, but really like adding life to your years.
Right.
And we're going to be talking about all the stuff in here from ancient Ayurvedic wisdom to modern science,
Yeah.
all aimed at helping you feel amazing at any age.
It's really cool how they bring in that ancient wisdom,
Yeah.
the Ayurveda stuff, and then blend it with modern science.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just one or the other. It's really like this beautiful blend.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes this book so unique. It's like they're not just saying, oh, this is the way it's been done for thousands of years, so it must be right. They're like, let's look at the science. Let's see what actually works.
Right, and it's like a more holistic approach, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about like one specific thing. It's
Right.
about taking care of your whole self.
And they really do a nice job in this book of like breaking down the difference between like lifespan versus health span.
Yes.
Because we are living longer than ever,
Yeah.
but are we actually like enjoying those extra years?
Right, it's not just about quantity, it's about quality.
Exactly.
Like, what's the point of living to 100 if you're miserable the whole time?
Right.
You want to be like feeling good and vibrant and actually able to enjoy life.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so the book, is really interesting because it suggests that syncing up with our natural rhythms
Yes.
could be like the key
Yes.
to feeling alive and well no matter what your age is.
And that's where Ayurveda comes in.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about that because I'm thinking like, do I have to move to a yurt and like start foraging for berries?
No, not at all.
Okay.
You don't have to go full on like, back to nature.
Right.
But it's more about understanding like our body's natural rhythms and working with them instead of against them.
Okay.
So one of the foundational principles of Ayurveda is this idea of circadian rhythms.
Okay.
Have you heard of that before?
I have heard of that. Yeah, it's like our body's internal clock, right?
Exactly. It's like this internal clock that's synced up with the sun.
Okay.
So it's about like, our natural sleep-wake cycles,
Yeah.
our hormone production, all of that stuff.
So it's like when the sun goes down, we're supposed to go to sleep, and when the sun comes up, we're supposed to wake up.
Ideally.
Yeah. Okay.
But I know that's not realistic for a lot of people.
Especially not in our modern world, right?
Right, exactly.
All the lights and the screens and everything.
Exactly. So it's not about being like super rigid about it,
Okay.
but it's more about just like understanding those natural rhythms and trying to work with them as much as possible.
So like what would be an example of like a practical tip?
Okay, so one thing that they talk about in the book is dimming the lights and reducing screen time in the evening.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, it's all about like preparing your body for sleep.
Right.
Because when it's dark, our bodies naturally produce melatonin,
Right.
which is the sleep hormone.
But when we're exposed to like bright lights and screens,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of messes with that production.
Exactly. It suppresses melatonin.
Okay.
So it's harder to fall asleep and stay asleep.
So we should all be like throwing away our phones and like lighting candles in the evening.
You can if you want.
I mean, that sounds kind of nice, actually.
It can be really relaxing.
Yeah. But I think like a more practical tip is maybe just like dimming the lights an hour or two before bed.
Yes, exactly.
Like putting your phone away,
Mm-hmm.
maybe reading a book instead of scrolling through social media.
Yes, exactly. Those are all great tips.
Okay. And what about food? Is there like an optimal time to eat?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So Ayurveda emphasizes eating a larger lunch when our digestive fire is at its peak.
Now, this is interesting because we live in this culture of like grabbing a quick bite at our desks.
Right? We're always rushing.
Yeah, and then we have like this big dinner.
Exactly. And it's actually the opposite of what Ayurveda recommends.
Okay, so we're doing it all wrong.
Pretty much.
Like,
But it makes sense when you think about it.
yeah. Okay. Because our digestive fire is strongest in the middle of the day.
Okay.
So that's when we're best able to digest and assimilate nutrients.
So you're saying we should be having like a big salad for dinner and like a huge meal for lunch.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a salad,
Okay.
but yeah, like a lighter dinner
Okay.
and a more substantial lunch.
So maybe I should rethink that sad desk salad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe trade it for something more nourishing.
Yeah, something that's actually going to give me energy.
Exactly.
Okay, but you keep saying this phrase digestive fire.
Yes.
Can you explain that a little bit more? Because I'm like, is this like an actual fire in my stomach?
It's not an actual fire,
Okay.
but it's this concept in Ayurveda that refers to our ability to digest food.
Okay.
And it's not just about like breaking down food physically. It's also about like how we process information and emotions and experiences.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's all connected.
So it's like a metaphor.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so how do we keep our digestive fire burning brightly.
Well, there are a lot of things we can do,
Okay.
but one of the simplest is just to eat mindfully.
Okay, so like not just shoveling food in our mouths.
Right, exactly, like actually tasting your food, chewing it thoroughly,
Okay.
and being present while you're eating.
Okay, so no more like eating lunch while you're scrolling through your phone?
Ideally not.
Okay.
It's also important to eat foods that are easy to digest.
Okay, so like what kind of foods?
Well, cooked foods are generally easier to digest than raw foods.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because cooking helps break down some of the tough fibers
Okay.
and makes the nutrients more available.
So it's not that raw foods are bad.
Right.
It's just that cooked foods are maybe a little bit easier on the digestive system.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's also about like avoiding foods that are really heavy or greasy or processed.
Okay, so like ditching the fast food.
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
And the book also talks about this really interesting thing called the vagus nerve.
Ooh, yes, I wanted
Right.
to ask you about that.
Yeah. Because you mentioned it earlier, and I'm like, what is this vagus nerve, and why is it so important for longevity?
It's a really fascinating nerve. It's actually the longest nerve in the body,
Wow.
and it connects our brain to all of our major organs.
Wow.
So it plays a role in a lot of different functions like digestion, heart rate, breathing, mood.
Wow. So it's like a super highway.
Exactly. It's like the communication highway between our brain and our body.
Okay.
And what's really cool is that we can actually influence its activity through certain practices.
Wait, so we can like hack our nervous system
In a way, yes.
to feel better?
Exactly.
Okay. Tell me more.
So one of the simplest ways to stimulate the vagus nerve is through deep breathing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so those like slow, deep breaths that we were talking about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
they actually send signals to the vagus nerve,
Okay.
which then tells our body to relax.
So just by breathing, we can like calm our whole system down.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, you should definitely try it.
All right. So deep breathing stimulates the vagus nerve.
Mm-hmm.
What else can we do?
Well, there are a lot of other things,
Okay.
like yoga and meditation and even singing.
Oh, wow. So many options.
Yeah, there are a lot of different ways to tap into the power of the vagus nerve.
Okay. I'm excited to learn more about this in the next part.
Yeah, we're going to dive deeper into that.
Awesome. And, we're also going to be talking about some other really interesting stuff like how to optimize our energy and well-being throughout the day.
Yes.
So make sure you tune in for part 2 of our deep dive into the longevity formula.
It's going to be good.
It is going to be good. All right. We'll see you then.
See you then.
Okay. So welcome back to our deep dive into the longevity formula. We're talking all about, how to increase our well-being and tap into that fountain of youth. And the last part, we started talking about the vagus nerve, this powerful connection between our brain and body. And I'm ready to unlock its secrets.
Yeah, it's really cool how we can actually influence this nerve through simple practices. And, you already hit on one of the big ones like breath work.
Right. Those deep, calming breaths.
Exactly.
But, the book mentions some other techniques too, like yoga. What's the connection there?
Yeah, so think of yoga as a way to move energy through your body.
Yeah.
And certain poses, especially ones that bend and extend the spine, they can actually gently stimulate the vagus nerve.
Okay.
And that promotes relaxation and balance.
So it's not just about, getting all bendy.
No, it's not just about being flexible.
Okay. Are there any poses that are particularly good for this? Because I've always been a fan of cat-cow.
Yes, cat-cow is a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
It's like that gentle rhythmic flow, syncing your breath with the movement. And that really helps to soothe the nervous system and just brings a sense of calm.
I can already feel my stress melting away.
Right.
Just thinking about it.
It's very relaxing.
Yeah. This book also mentions walking outdoors as a way to support the vagus nerve. Something about fresh air and sunshine.
Yes, being in nature is so good for us. And walking combines gentle movement with exposure to natural light, which helps to regulate our circadian rhythms and boost our mood.
Like a reset button.
Yeah, exactly. It's a way to reset and recharge, both physically and mentally.
All this talk about the vagus nerve makes me realize how interconnected our physical and emotional well-being really are.
They really are.
It's not just about, eating the right foods or exercising.
Right.
It's about managing our stress and cultivating inner peace too.
Yes, exactly. And the book really emphasizes that ignoring our emotions, pushing them down, can actually disrupt the vagus nerve function.
Oh, wow.
And lead to imbalances in the body.
So it's important to create space for healthy emotional release.
Yes, exactly.
So instead of bottling up those feelings of frustration or anxiety, we should learn to acknowledge them,
Yeah.
process them, let them move through us.
Yes. Exactly. It's about allowing yourself to feel your emotions,
Okay.
but not getting stuck in them.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Well, there are many different ways.
Okay.
Some people find journaling helpful.
Mm.
Others prefer talking to a trusted friend or therapist.
Mm.
Spending time in nature can also be really healing.
Mhm.
The book even suggests chanting mantras.
Mantras. Now, that's something I'm not too familiar with. Can you elaborate on
It-
that a bit more?
Yeah, so mantras are essentially sounds or phrases
Okay.
that are repeated to create a specific vibration in the body and mind.
Okay.
They've been used for centuries in various traditions as a way to focus attention, calm the nervous system, and even promote healing.
So it's not just about the words themselves,
Right.
but the sound and the vibration that they create.
Exactly. It's about the energy
Okay.
that they produce.
So what would be an example of a mantra?
Well, there are many different mantras.
Okay.
But one of the most well-known is the Om mantra.
Oh.
That's a very simple sound, but it's said to be very powerful.
Okay.
It's like the sound of creation.
Oh, wow.
And it can help to bring us into a state of peace and harmony.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. Breath work, yoga, emotional release, even chanting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we have this whole toolkit for cultivating inner peace and resilience.
Yes, exactly.
Which ultimately supports longevity.
Exactly. It's all connected.
So what are some baby steps we can take?
Okay.
Because let's be real, we're all busy people.
Right. We don't have all day to spend on self-care,
Right.
but even small things can make a difference.
Okay, so where do we even begin to incorporate these Ayurvedic principles?
Well, it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Just noticing how your body feels throughout the day,
Mm-hmm.
paying attention to your energy levels,
Okay.
identifying any areas where you might be feeling stuck or depleted.
Okay, so tuning into those internal cues.
Exactly.
What then?
Well, once you have that awareness, you can start experimenting with small tweaks to your routine. Maybe it's incorporating a 5-minute breathwork practice before bed,
Yeah.
or opting for a lighter dinner a couple nights a week.
Okay.
Or maybe it's swapping out that afternoon coffee for a walk around the block.
It's about finding what works for you
Yes, exactly.
and gradually building those healthy habits, not trying to do everything at once and then feeling overwhelmed.
Right. Start small and be consistent.
Small changes consistently applied can create remarkable shifts over time.
Yes, I love that.
This is giving me a whole new perspective on what it means to age well. It's not just about trying to look younger.
Right.
It's about feeling vibrant and alive from the inside out.
Exact.
But before we get too carried away with all these amazing tips, I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. Or rather, the food on our plates.
Yes, food. We can't talk about longevity without addressing the Ayurvedic approach to nutrition.
I'm so ready for this.
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic. And it's not just about what we eat,
Okay.
but how we eat when we eat, and even our mindset around food.
Okay, so it's a whole holistic thing.
Exactly.
I'm ready to uncover the secrets of eating for vitality and longevity.
All right, let's do it.
Stay tuned as we delve into the final part of the longevity formula, exploring the concept of food as medicine and how to make every meal a celebration of health and well-being. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the longevity formula. We've covered so much ground already, talking about aligning with nature's rhythms and that powerful vagus nerve, but no conversation about longevity is complete without talking about food.
I know, right? It's like the fuel that keeps us going.
So true. So ditching the drive-through and embracing the farmer's market, right?
Pretty much.
But where do we even begin? Is there a specific Ayurvedic diet we should all be following?
It's not so much about a rigid diet. It's more about understanding how different foods interact with our unique constitution, or our dosha.
Okay, so this dosha thing, remind me again how that works.
Okay, so basically, Ayurveda recognizes 3 primary doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and each one has different qualities and tendencies.
So it's like our own personal blueprint.
Exactly.
Okay, so Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Break it down for me.
Okay, so Vata is associated with air and ether, and it's all about movement, creativity, quick thinking. Pitta is linked to fire and water, and it's characterized by intensity focus, strong metabolism, and then Kapha is rooted in earth and water, and it's all about stability, groundedness, and a tendency towards slower digestion.
Got it. So once we figure out our dominant dosha, we can kind of personalize our food choices to create more balance.
Exactly. Like, for example, someone with a predominantly Vata dosha might benefit from warm, grounding foods like soups and stews, while someone with a Pitta dosha might want to favor cooling, calming foods like cucumbers and mint.
It's like customized eating rather than a one-size-fits-all plan.
Exactly. It's about working with your unique nature.
I love that. But beyond knowing our dosha, are there any universal guidelines that the longevity formula recommends for everyone?
Absolutely. Like a big one is choosing fresh whole foods as much as possible. Think vibrant fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, basically foods that are as close to their natural state as possible.
So basically ditching the processed stuff, all those tempting bags and boxes filled with who knows what.
Pretty much minimizing processed foods, refined sugars, and unhealthy fats is huge for supporting longevity and overall well-being.
Agreed. The book also mentions favoring cooked meals over raw. Now, I've always heard that raw foods are packed with nutrients, so why the emphasis on cooking?
Well, while raw foods definitely have their benefits, Ayurveda believes that cooked food is easier to digest and provides more nourishment. Cooking actually helps break down certain compounds in foods, making the nutrients more readily available for our bodies to absorb.
So it's not that raw foods are bad, it's just that cooking can kind of enhance their digestibility and make them a little gentler on our system.
Exactly, and it's always about listening to your own body and finding what works best for you.
Okay, that makes total sense. Now, I'm curious, are there any specific foods or ingredients that the longevity formula highlights as being particularly beneficial for longevity? Like the superstars of the Ayurvedic pantry?
Oh yeah, there are a few that stand out, like turmeric, for example, is a powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. It's been used for centuries in Ayurvedic medicine to support everything from joint health to digestion to cognitive function.
So those turmeric lattes I see everywhere are actually legit.
They can be, just watch out for added sugars. You want to keep it as natural as possible.
Good tip. What else?
Ginger is another one. It's known for its ability to aid digestion, soothe nausea, and reduce inflammation.
I put ginger in everything. Stir fries, teas, smoothies, you name it.
It's so versatile and delicious, and then we can't forget about ghee.
Tell me more.
It's clarified butter, and it's a staple in Ayurvedic cooking. It's believed to be incredibly nourishing and easy to digest, and it adds like this amazing rich flavor to dishes.
Ghee. I'm all about that rich flavor. And of course, we can't forget about leafy greens.
Oh yes, leafy greens are essential. They're packed with vitamins, minerals, and fiber, all of which are so important for overall health.
I'm hearing you got to get those greens in. And the cool thing is that incorporating these foods doesn't have to be complicated. It's about finding simple, enjoyable ways to weave them into your daily meals.
Exactly. It's not about perfection. It's about making gradual shifts towards a healthier way of eating.
I love that, it's so fascinating how the longevity formula ties together all these different aspects of well-being, from sleep to movement to food to emotional health. It really is a holistic approach to living a longer, healthier, more vibrant life.
And it's not about chasing some magic pill or quick fix. It's about making gradual shifts towards a more balanced and fulfilling way of being.
It's about embracing the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. Every small step you take towards aligning with these principles is a step towards creating a life that feels good in the present moment and supports your long-term health and happiness.
So well said and so true. So, dear listeners, as we wrap up this deep dive into the longevity formula, we leave you with this final thought. What small change can you make today to nourish your body, mind, and spirit? Maybe it's swapping out that sugary snack for a handful of nuts, or adding a sprinkle of turmeric to your dinner, or perhaps it's taking a few minutes to breathe deeply and connect with the present moment. Remember, even the smallest actions can have a ripple effect leading to big changes over time. That's it for our exploration of the longevity formula. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring, and we wish you all the best on your journey to living a long, vibrant, and fulfilling life.